Hey guys, Mindstone here, and today we will be talking about Tempo Warrior. So the deck has received a few new cards from the Knights of the Frozen Throne expansion, and these have just made the core overall a little bit stronger. Except for that, it's also really performing nicely against the decks of the meta right now, so therefore I think it's a very strong deck, and we should definitely give it a try. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into the cards before we'll do the gameplay. So the first card is Blood to Ichor. Blood to Ichor is like the playmaker card of the deck. It's just this little card helping the deck run smoothly, making all the plays available. So if you've got two primary uses for it. The first one being, I actually got three primary uses. The first one being enraging your minions to make battle rage trigger on more targets, and while triggering your economic pain. That's the main. Well, that's the first use. You're gonna use that like a lot of time. You can do that. Second use is making sure your enrage will actually be able to target things. So you damage things to make sure enrage will kill them. Oh wait, not enrage, execute. There you go. Sorry, I'm being confusing right now. But you play this on something and then you execute it. So just to make sure execute will actually do something. And the third use is using it on Grommash Shell Scream to kill your opponent. Nice and simple. Yeah. So it's actually, you should especially be aware of the last effect. The first two effects are quite self-explanatory. The third effect is very important because it's actually your only card that will make sure Grommash can do his damage, the 10 damage from his attack with Enrage on in the first turn he's played. We have another trick for it too, but this is the only card that can be played from the hand during the turn with Grommash and Enrage him. So it's the most surprising way to do it. Yeah, but the card's just really strong because 1 mana, get a 2/2 and do 1 damage. Seems pretty fair to me. Often you can just line it up so it becomes that good. Then we've got Armor Smith. Armor Smith is in the deck for getting armor and for being an annoying 2-drop. So if whoever gets aggro, this one's a real lifesaver because we get a lot of health from it if it stays on the board. Especially if it's hidden behind taunts, it's going to be very hard to remove. Also, it has 4 health, so it's just crazily annoying to remove in general. Yeah, and it's a solid 2-drop just because the stats are fairly good and the effect is quite dangerous for most decks. Yeah. So not much to say about it. We have a lot of things damaging all of our minions, so we'll get a lot of armor for it if we have wide boards. Yeah. Next up is Battle Rage. This is like our main draw engine. So we have a lot of minions that are damaged, and we play this one, and we gain a card for each. Also, excuse me. If our heroes damage, so if we've been taking any damage from enemy minions or from using our weapon or something, then we'll draw a card for that too. We have to make sure our hero's damaged. That's usually quite easily achievable because our opponent's going to damage us, but sometimes we just have to watch out with not getting armor before we've been swinging our weapon at something if our opponent's a control deck. So we gotta care about that too. Yeah. But then we've got Execute, which is like the only hard removal we have. So against all these big targets like Lich King and such, this is the way we kill them. Yeah, but it's just a good and powerful hard removal tool with quite low cost, so it's fairly strong. Yeah. Then we've got Fury War Axe. So this card says kill 2 other 2-drops for 2 mana, which is fairly reasonable. So you can watch it like kill these 2/2 drops for 2 mana, or you can watch it as deal 6 damage for 2 mana, and there's like a lot of ways to watch it. But the inevitable truth is that it has a damn lot of tempo in it, and it's just a solid card, really a solid card. Yeah, I don't know where Warriors would be without this card because it's probably the most powerful card in their entire arsenal, at least close to. Yeah, there isn't much to say about it. It's just too good. Um, but definitely a card we want in our deck. Yeah. Then we've got Acolyte Pain, which is the other draw engine we have. It's like we play this one on turn 3 and we just maybe draw 1 or 2 cards off it, which is pretty good. At times we're going to draw a lot of cards because we can make our effects damage it, which is going to easily make it draw a few cards. But just getting 1 or 2 cards is usually enough. You have to watch out overdrawing because this deck can suddenly draw a lot of cards if our opponent's not keeping us down. So watch out with that card in overdraw. I've got Frothing Berserker, which is like the damage engine of our early game. It's like you play this guy, you damage all minions, and he hits for a turn. Pretty simple. He's annoying to deal with, so he's a good 3-drop, and yeah, he's always a threat really, because he can easily spiral out of control. But yeah, not much to say about that. Then we've got Mountain Fire Armor. We only play one copy because I feel like it's the most expendable 3-drop. The others are quite important, and this one feels like you can actually drop just one copy. So what it does, it's a 4/3, and your opponent do not want to clear it. They don't want to clear it. So yeah, that's what it's for. It has a death rattle too, which is like why our opponent is not very happy to clear it. But more importantly, it's going to be resurrected by Nasoth. So it's a 4/3 when you play it, and it's a 4/3 when you resurrect it. Yeah, not much to say about that. Just being a vanilla, 4/3 for 3 is fine. It's not terrible. Um, yeah, and it's fairly good when we're aggressive because we can actually make it switch roles in some games. So it has some interesting implications with psychology and how you kill it and how you don't kill it. Yeah, but one copy is just probably enough. And then we've got Ravishing Ghouls. These are just super important because they help us a lot against aggro, because we can kill all their leftover minions, like those with 1 health. And we can trigger our own minions that require us to deal damage to them. And it's just a 3/3 for 3, which is also sometimes what we want to do against control decks. So, yeah, just overall powerful. We're playing it in this deck because it's just helping us on being aggressive and on being defensive. Then we've got Double Blood Razor. This is like Ravishing Ghoul as a weapon. So it's really good because we can get a lot of damage dealt to our board and the enemy board and, well, every minion of those very quickly with it. So what it actually does is it hits for 3 on one thing and 1 on everything else. That's like the way you see it. Because you're really going to hit with it and you play it. So it's kind of just like board clear. Just like a swipe really, and then you get another swipe afterwards. So that's about what it does, I think. Yeah, but so you should also remind that if you hold the second charge, it's like a free whirlwind. So you can use that for maybe making Grommash get enraged the turn you've played, or making a big battle rage or something. So yeah, be watchful of that. We've got Bloodhoof Brave, which is like just a big 2/6 taunt, and the enrage easily makes it a 5/5. Um, yeah, and that's going to happen quite a lot of times. It's really good against aggro, and it can actually be used to pressure control just because of 5 attack actually being quite a big deal. Yeah, not much to say about it. Make sure the enrages will trigger it. But sometimes against priest, I think you don't want to enrage it because then it dies to Dragonfire Potion, and it doesn't if you don't enrage it. So just beware of that. Then we've got Crocker on the lead, which is like just 4 damage for 4 mana, and it stays on the board and punches the opponent. So yeah, strategical removal in the form of a minion, we like that. Yeah, and it's just powerful because you can hit things with it instantly. You don't have to wait for anything. That's pretty good. And we've got Direhorn Hatchlings, which are like value engine cards because they're good against aggro when you play them as a 3/6 taunt. That's like decent. It's not very good for 5 mana, but it's good enough, really. And then it sort of just goes really good when you draw it, the deathrattle. It really shuffles a 6/9 taunt into your deck. When you draw that and play it for 5, that's really low tempo. So it's a good card, and well, 6/9 for 5 is usually just a damn lot of tempo, and most opponents just can't deal with that. Yeah, so that's just a super powerful card. I've actually seen times where I coined it out on turn 4, and then on 5 I top deck that 6/9. That's usually just going to be crazy. But yeah, it's just a powerful card, not much to say about it. Yeah, it's also having a death rattle, obviously, so Nasoth is going to resurrect it, which is really important because it's got taunt, so we can use Nasoth as actually an actual tool for helping us to defend ourselves. Yeah. Then we've got Karen Bloodhoof, which is just like he's a big fatty, and Nasoth is going to resurrect him, and he's really easy to make him stick on. It's really easy to make him stick on the board. So Battle Rage is very likely to have an effect with him, and we're just generally happy about that. Yeah, he's just a lot of value. he's usually very slow, so in case you're up against aggro, it's kind of hard to get him down on the board. But sometimes it can be good, sometimes it isn't because you don't have time for it. But just beware that he might be too slow for some matchups. That doesn't mean you should cut him from the deck. It just means that you should be quite careful when you play him because you're often just going to be set behind on tempo. Um, in case our opponent is able to pressure us, because they usually won't be able to deal with him, just value-wise. I've got Nerubian Unraveler, which is like our anti-Jade, anti-Exodia Mage card. So if we're playing up against Exodia Mage and we know they're about to combo the next time, we just play this guy, and they can't combo because the combo will require all of their mana, uh, um, usually, and this one just makes it take more than 10 mana, right? So that means they can't combo. Oh, they have to spend a turn removing it, and that means you get one more turn. That can be really important if you just pop the ice block of them and you just need one more turn to kill them or something. But it's just, well, it's very powerful in that sense, and sometimes they can't even clear it in just one turn. So it's really powerful there. Against Jade Druid, it's just to slow them down. So it's going to disrupt Ultimate Infestation really much because they can't play it, obviously, because it's going to cost 12 when you play this guy. And that's really good. So if they're almost out of cards, you play this guy and they can't draw new cards, that's really powerful. And it's just going to stop them from like throwing a lot of small spells. So usually I feel like they play one spell or two spells to remove it, and then you got like 4 mana they could have spent on something else. This one kind of took away from them, which means it's essentially a 5/5 for 2 mana, which is really, really good. It's also good for protecting your board against board clears, in case that you can play it at a strategical time. So maybe, let's say, you play this on turn 6 against Priest, he has his turn 7, he cannot play Dragonfire Potion because this one's on there, and Dragonfire costs 8 then. So yeah, it's just really, really powerful for disrupting spell-based opponents. We could actually play 2 of them, but I feel like that's a little bit too much because we don't really have room for it in the deck, even though I'd like to. Then we've got Grommash Hellscream. Yeah, hell, he's a finisher. So we use Blood to Ichor or Blood Razor or something to make him enrage. He hits for 10. That's quite a lot of damage. He can be used as removal too. If you're up against an aggro deck, you just use him as 8 mana, deal 4 damage to something, and then you have a minion afterwards. That's fairly good. But be watchful that he's usually going to be removed after you've attacked the first time and you pass your turn, because he's quite dangerous for the opponent. So it's only if they can't deal with them, they're not going to. Yeah, because 10 attacks, nothing to be joking with. And then we've got the Lich King, which is like our value engine, sort of. But the thing is, the Lich King is really good against Exodia Mage because we can get Death Grip and we can just destroy them completely. It's like, that's a really good opportunity to like do something which isn't completely linear, which is what the deck usually does. And then he's just pretty good value in general, because an 8/8 taunt for 8 is good. Well, it's not terribly good, but it's definitely acceptable. And then just having one card, that just makes it a good card. If it stays on the board for several turns, you just kind of win the game off that, usually. Yeah, I think usually it's not going to get to do that, but, well, then you had some removal thrown at it, and that's not going to be thrown at something else. So it's fairly okay. Yeah, and it's just, if you get something like Army of the Dead, it's really good with this deck because you have a lot of fat things in your deck that you can easily pull out of it. So I feel like, well, in most cases, the cards you get are fairly good, maybe with the exception of Doom Pact. Then we've got Nassault the Corruptor, which is like probably only there to like beat these decks like Druid, just Druid. So all these value druid, the control druid, the big druid, and the jade druid, they have a hard time dealing with Nassault if he resurrects enough things. So therefore we play Nassault and we play like 4 deathrattle minions to just like have a little bit more of, well, we get more value through it obviously, and that's really good against normal decks. Against these control decks, it's really that you play this guy and you get a lot of tempo because you summon so many things in just one turn. So yeah, that's really, really powerful. But yeah, I believe that was the cards. I just have to mention the deck is actually meant to be fairly aggressive, even though we have these value bombs in the end of the deck. So, yeah, but it's a mid-range deck after all. But I think that's enough talking. We'll get into an example game now. Okay, so here we are going into an example game with Temple Warrior. So we're looking for anything which isn't priest, I think. We don't like priest because priest has some really good tools for them to deal with this. But everything else I think is pretty good.
Versus trolls.
Shaman can be tricky, but you can usually beat them if you just manage to get control over their board. I think you mulliganed for good 3-drops and, well, then Fury War Axe and Armor Smith Bloodbreaker. In this matchup I like Acolyte and Ravishing Ghoul. I don't really like Mountain Fire Armor that much, and I'm not very happy about Frozen Berserker either. It's okay though. I especially like Ravishing Ghoul, I think that's the best one. Just because it's very likely he'll be playing someone once. As Shaman, at least he'll fill the board fairly much, usually. But also having both of Acolyte and Ravishing Ghoul makes it very easy for us to get some draw going. Now he will start using his hero power. That's a very passive start. That's fairly good for us, because that means we can start putting an Acolyte out there without much threat of it being killed.
Out of my jungle.
So we're just going to start attacking to draw a card. We've got 7 cards. If I play the other Acolyte, I think that's a little bit too much card draw actually. I like just using the War Axe a little bit better. It feels like it's getting a little bit more control. So there was a possibility to actually play more on curve and play the second Acolyte, but again it was too much card draw, so we don't want to do that. You have to care about that you can sometimes draw too much. I also have Battle Rage, and it's just not really necessary to draw that many cards right now. He's just gonna make us draw another card now. That's fine. That's good for totems. It's really good at killing these. But I think we're probably gonna go with Blood Razor here, just because he has a few 1/1s, and we want to kill these. I don't feel like the spell damage to totem is threatening right now, so we just ignore that. If he attacks the face, it's most likely he has another one. But not doing that, you don't get too many hits. So I think I like just playing this one, because playing Flametongue Totem in the middle here is not going to get him a trade for it. He actually has to use the weapon too, so that's fairly good. And also, next turn we can play 2 3-drops, so maybe like Acolyte and Frothing, and just use this one to make them trigger. That's fairly good. Yeah, he wanted a Taunt Totem really, because a Taunt Totem would have meant that this one was not going to die from my weapon. Now he didn't get that, so he's not very happy about it. Yeah, but we're just going to set up this board. Draw a card, make this one be scary. It's getting quite scary actually from all of these procs it's getting. We don't have any more weapons in our hand though, which is something we gotta care about, so we're gonna have a hard time actually clearing the board. Devolve, that doesn't matter a lot. Obviously it sucks that our board is destroyed, but he spends 2 mana to do it. That's not really something we're happy about. Yeah, we're just gonna taunt this up. Taunt it up and start building on the Frothing Berserker. It's actually possible that we might just be able to put him lethal in a few turns. Or maybe even just 1 turn if he fills the board and we get to play both Ravishing Ghouls. But now the Frothing was devolved, so we're not going to get to do that. However, we might just play both of them just to make sure we clear the board. Now he's going to use the combination of Healing Totem and Northshire Cleric to his advantage. That's quite sad because he's getting 2 cards out of it. It's almost like cheating, actually. Yeah. So here I feel like we want to fish for a Orax. Try to get that so we can kill 2/2 minion. And that's pretty good. Then we've got a nice hand, and I think we can play it from here. There's the chance of him being ready to evolve, because he most likely has evolve and double games right now. And that's a little bit bad, but we can deal with it still. It's still, oh, that's really sad. Him getting our weapon means that we'll have a hard time actually doing anything. But however, it kind of leads us to just take full clear. And we're kind of happy about that, because the less minions he has on the board, the worse his evolve is going to be, which is quite important.
Golems are a girl's best friend.
We just want to make sure we get a lot of cards from this battle rage, I think. Just considering how we want to do that. So, I think I like this. I'm gonna hit Aya. Oh, here. Actually, I fucked that up a little bit. But we get 3 cards. We're gonna kill that one, kill that one. And now we have quite a lot of cards. He doesn't have that many. And I don't think we're gonna get overrun on the board just right now. I think we've got a little bit of time before he reassembles the board. He's going to do the evolve combo pretty soon, but I think we're still okay, actually. That doesn't seem very dangerous, because it's only a 5/5. It's not going to kill our Direhorn hatchlings, and we're going to utilize that for our advantage. So the Lich King is fairly strong too, but I feel like we don't want to just play him like that. We might want to do something like Lich King Execute at some point. But right now we're just making sure our death rattles go down so we can have an assault as soon as we draw it. Because that's very important against Shaman. Okay, now we're going to see the evolve. That's almost for sure. Yeah, there we go. This is very, very powerful, and we might actually just lose to it, because he's going to get so much board presence from it. However, it's not very dangerous what he had there, so I think we might be okay. So we have got to clear it out before he just keeps evolving it. Because at some point, I think this deck just keeps its board going, and they just keep evolving their things. And if you can't clear them, you're just going to lose to that, which is like the problem about it. I think it's very, very strong in any mid-range matchup. Because the thing is, now he's just going to slam his Defender of Kings into our Direhorn, and he's going to just evolve it with his hero power. And that's going to get him an 8-drop, and we can't really deal with that.
Is mine alone.
Or he's going to do that. I don't feel like it's that dangerous though. But yeah, obviously we're going to get pushed to 5 health. That's not very good for us. So yeah, there you go, trying. Let's just say we're not happy with that. But there's not much we can do about it, we just have to start getting something done. Now, the Army of the Dead is fairly strong, because we have 2 Direhorns Matriarchs shuffled into the deck, so we might be okay with that. But I don't think it's quite enough to actually just win the game. I think he's going to win it. So there's Maelstrom Portal, which is going to mean we're going to take a lot of damage. So actually drawing the sword right now means quite a lot. Yeah, I think we're just going to use this. We know it's going to fatigue us, but there isn't like terribly much we can do about that. I think we're going to keep this one for execute, just to make sure we get that one. I think we can armor up enough actually with these two armor smiths to make sure we don't die from fatigue. But well, what do I know? We're still gonna live through. No wait, we're not. We're dead. Wow, wait, no wait, we might not be dead because Ashbringer only gets a 5, and we get like a lot of armor. And there's like really a lot of armor, so we might be alive after this. But I think we're just gonna die in 2 turns, so it doesn't matter that much. Oh wait, actually we're only gonna take 1 damage. Soth is going to resurrect a few taunts, so we might just be okay. We're gonna take 2 damage next turn from fatigue. But right now we're doing 10 plus 7, that's 17 damage. But we don't have any damages in our hand, so we have to like keep going with Hero Power and Blood Taker to gain more armor. But he is going to put pressure on us with that. And that is very powerful too. However, him attacking that is actually going to mean that he's going to be taking some damage. And also, killing these are going to mean that we're going to not take fatigue for all that time. So that's fairly good. Still, we only had 17 damage, so we can't actually kill him. That is a little bit not so good. I'm gonna kill that one. And I think... I like this one because it actually stays alive anyways, so it doesn't really matter all that much. And this way we kind of keep our armor going up, and we have a too big board for him to deal with. And we still have a taunt, so we kind of just punch through with the Ashbringer. And he doesn't have any more cards, and his hero part is not very good against, and well, not very good when he doesn't have cards. So we're actually just managing to outvalue him finally. Yeah, so he will die next turn, I believe. So this is like 10 damage and this is 16 damage. So okay, we can't kill him next turn, but we're gonna kill him very quickly. I don't think it matters to keep it in case of like Deathwing. So we're just gonna be happy about this. We have 11 armor. It's going to take a little bit of time for us to die from fatigue. So I don't think that matters, and he's not going to be able to swing this during that time. Yeah, so we were done. So this matchup was a little bit weird actually. It's not something you see very often, but it's a nice matchup to actually show off what the deck does. Because the matchup is like mid-range against mid-range, which means that it's very much about who gets the most value or who gets the most tempo, and it constantly shifts who's actually the aggressor and the controller. So there were some shifts, quite a lot actually. I feel like, well, when you saw him getting the Tryon and the Bloodlust and such, he was like the aggressor. He was trying to kill us, but then suddenly, we actually managed to outvalue him there, and then start being the aggressor again. And we were the aggressor earlier in the game when we had a board and he didn't and such. So it sort of swang forth and back, and that was quite interesting. So I hope you guys saw how the deck worked and maybe want to try it for yourselves. And I will see you in my next video.